Have you ever wondered how some of the most perplexing mysteries and deaths are finally solved? Well, the answer lies somewhere deep in artificial intelligence. Stick around because today we're diving deep into how AI is revolutionizing the field of forensics.
Most recently, 58-year-old John Miller was charged with the 1988 rape and murder of 8-year-old April Tinsley in Indiana. It also led police to arrest Raymond Rowe, a wedding DJ who was charged with the 1992 killing of 25-year-old Christy Marak in Pennsylvania.
In this video, we'll delve into jaw-dropping cases that remained unsolved for over 40 years till AI came around. 40 years is ridiculous, but how about over a century and a half?
Huh? What?
Yes, you heard right. It's all in here. We'll also break down the impact of artificial intelligence in solving crimes. Think facial reconstruction of unknown criminals, or DNA matching through family history. These aren't just fancy terms, they're tools that crack cases wide open. Let's dive in right away. Before we talk about some of the longest running cold cases, let's first discuss ways of digging up the past with what's only available in the present. This way, you'll understand the connection to uncovering mysterious cases from decades ago. Imagine a dusty attic filled with old family photographs, yellowed birth certificates, and handwritten letters. For generations, this has been the treasure trove for anyone trying to piece together their family history or glance into the past. What if I told you the attic is now digital, and the tools you use to sift through it are powered by AI? You see, AI has been used in genealogy for a while. I'm sure you've come across the several ancestry videos of celebrities discovering their past. They find new information of their family tree and most often than not, emotionally react to the news.
And I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
No,
But it's hard not to.
it's hard not to.
Now I know why you put the tissue there.
Natural language processing, or NLP, is used to interpret old birth certificates and handwritten letters. In the past, you'd have to manually comb through countless records. But this is not the only part where AI shines. DNA matching is the most important piece of finding out what happened in the past. Once a silent witness, DNA now tells stories that extend beyond the individuals it belongs to, reaching back through the corridors of time to unveil truths that were once thought to be lost forever. At its core, DNA matching in genealogy involves comparing genetic markers between individuals using AI to identify familial relationships. When you take a DNA test from companies like Ancestry or 23andMe, your genetic data is analyzed for specific markers that are then compared to a database of other users. If there's a match, it's likely you found a relative.
Yay!
What if the DNA is from a murder investigation? You see where I'm going with this? You can find the criminal through DNA left at the crime scene. Let's talk more about this. Once, the term cold case carried with it a bleak sense of finality. However, with the advent of artificial intelligence and its marriage to forensic genealogy, the phrase has begun to lose its once definite meaning. Let's talk about two huge cases that shook the airwaves only a few years ago. The tale of the Golden State Killer is a chilling narrative of a serial criminal whose reign of terror spanned over a decade across various regions of California. His crimes began in the late 1970s and continued through the 1980s. Under various monikers like East Area, the Original Night Stalker, and the Visalia Ransacker, he committed the most heinous crimes. His methods were sinister. I won't go into the details about his crimes, but just know they were gruesome to say the least. His ability to elude capture for decades added to the mystique and fear surrounding his identity. The breakthrough in the case came over 40 years later. In 2018, when authorities used a novel investigative technique called genetic genealogy. By comparing DNA evidence collected from crime scenes to genetic profiles available on public genealogy databases, investigators were able to identify distant relatives of the suspect. They painstakingly built a family tree that eventually led them to Joseph James DeAngelo, a former police officer. In June 2020, DeAngelo pleaded guilty to numerous charges related to the crimes and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole in August 2020. The capture of the Golden State Killer marked a significant milestone in the field of forensic investigation, showing the power of combining traditional detective work with modern technology like genetic genealogy and AI. How about this next case? A cup of coffee gets most of us energetic for the start of the day, but in this scenario, it was the linchpin to solving the entire case. The eerie unsolved mystery of Lindy Sue Beekler, who met a horrific end on December 5, 1975, saw a glimpse of hope nearly 44 years later, thanks to cutting-edge DNA analysis and AI. The scene on the fateful evening was gruesome. Lindy's aunt and uncle discovered the 19-year-old in their Manor Township home in Pennsylvania. Despite relentless investigations and the passage of decades, justice remained elusive. A breakthrough seemed to appear in 1997 when male DNA was retrieved from Lindy's underwear. Yet, submitting it to the nationwide law enforcement database yielded no matches, plunging the case back into the abyss of unresolved mysteries. Hope rekindled in 2019 when the Lancaster County District Attorney's Cold Case Unit sought the expertise of genetic genealogists at Parabon Nano Labs. DNA analysis zeroed in on a suspect, 68-year-old David Sinopoli. Fast forward to February 2022, a stealth operation to gather fresh DNA was underway as investigators secured a coffee cup Sinopoli discarded on his way to Philadelphia International Airport. This newfound DNA matched samples from Lindy's underwear. The subsequent month witnessed Sinopoli's arrest at his Lancaster residence, now facing the stern gaze of justice with criminal homicide charges pinned against him. These cases show the profound impact of combining traditional investigative methods with modern-day science. In the best outcome, justice isn't just served, it is delivered with laser-like precision, redefining what's possible in criminal investigations. And when it's all said and done, a family finds solace knowing that the culprit that has been haunting their past is finally apprehended. Now that we've discussed how AI and DNA matching are used to solve crimes, let's closely inspect one of the companies behind such forensic breakthroughs. Parabon Nano Labs is at the frontier of using artificial intelligence, genetics, and forensics to unravel the mysteries surrounding unsolved criminal cases. The company was founded in 2008 and is based in Virginia. They provide several services, including DNA phenotyping solutions for law enforcement organizations. Here's a glimpse into how they've integrated these tools to turn the tide in cold case investigations. Parabon developed a tool named Snapshot DNA Phenotyping, which can predict the physical traits of an unknown person based solely on DNA samples. Physical features like eye color, hair color, complexion, freckles, and face shape are then used to recreate the base appearance of the suspect. This can then be integrated into their skull and facial reconstruction. In the example shown on the Parabon website, the sketches bear an uncanny resemblance to the actual people. What do you think? This is absolutely insane. This would have been considered impossible a few years ago, but now genealogists can do this in minutes. The next thing you're probably thinking is this ethical? How accurate are these predictions? Rest assured, you're not the only one asking such questions. Experts like Kenneth Kidd, a genetic professor at Yale, are skeptical about the accuracy of predicting complex facial features from DNA alone. ACLU warns that this technology is still in the realm of science fiction and should not be used to establish probable causes or pressure individuals into providing DNA samples. The technology should only be employed when the link between genes and external characteristics is based on well-proven, peer-reviewed science. Parabon has come a long way since their early phenotyping days. The technology is much better now. The question is, how much better? For crimes that haven't been solved in decades, facial reconstruction will only generate what the person is supposed to look like, based solely on DNA and not other factors that may alter their appearance. This is where Parabon's next service comes in. It's called Forensic Art Enhancement. Sit tight because it gets weirder. Features like age, body mass index or BMI, or the presence of facial hair aren't coded in our genes. Forensic art fills in these gaps. It's like adding the finishing touches to a portrait, making it as lifelike as possible. It gives nuance to the composite sketch. In the example shown, forensic art does quite well at showing the appearance of the person at an older age. We won't go through all the services Parabon offers, but one final yet important solution they provide is genetic genealogy. Parabon's team searches for relatives of suspects in public databases, like we discussed in the case of the Golden State Killer. They improve the results using kinship testing, which allows another dimension of discovery. 2 DNA samples are analyzed to determine familial relationships. The service can detect relatedness out to 9th degree relatives or 4th cousins. Parabon extends its expertise in DNA technology beyond forensics. They design and produce new compounds for treating cancer, infectious diseases, and biodefense application using their DNA nanotech platform. There's more to this, and perhaps we can go into this one day. The combination of Parabon's forensic services has led the company to solve almost 300 cases since 2018. Their work represents more than 5,000 years of investigation that have been brought to closure, changing the face of cold case investigations significantly. Some of their cases date back several years. A category I found interesting is what Parabon calls John and Jane Doe cases. These are the unidentified remains of deceased individuals. In one example, somewhere in Connecticut, an old farm cemetery held a strange secret. A coffin marked JB55 was unearthed in 1990 by archaeologists. Its skull was separated and laid upon the chest, a ritual to prevent deceased people from becoming vampires. I know, this was a panic back in the day. Fast forward to November 2022, when Parabon's facial reconstruction unveiled the identity of JB55 as John Barber, a farmer who succumbed to tuberculosis in 1843. That's 180 years ago.
Wait, what?
Absolutely mind-blowing stuff. The methods employed by Parabon, particularly the algorithms used in composite sketching, have attracted scrutiny and criticism due to the lack of open source disclosure, which some in the scientific community find concerning, especially for future tech that we haven't yet seen. It's important to step back and ponder the ethical maze we're navigating. While AI is a powerful tool for justice, it's also a double-edged sword. Imagine a future where AI can predict crimes before they happen, or where deep learning algorithms can analyze a crime in real time. It sounds like science fiction, but the way things are going, we might not be too far off. In Minority Report, we see the ethical dilemma presented when the main protagonist is accused of a crime he hasn't committed yet, but supposedly will sometime in the future.
I'll understand the legalistic drawback to pre-crime methodology.
Here we go again.
Look, I'm not with the ACLU on this, Jeff. But let's not kid ourselves. We are arresting individuals who have broken no law.
But they will. The commission of the crime itself is absolute metaphysics. The pre-concs see the future, and they're never wrong.
But it's not the future if you stop it. Isn't that a fundamental paradox?
Yes, it is.
The rapid growth of mind-blowing tech seems to be leading us to a point where life is starting to imitate art, like in the movies. With great power comes great responsibility. Striking the balance between innovation and ethical oversight is the tightrope we'll have to walk. Yes, solving crimes is crucial, but where do we draw the line when it comes to personal privacy? Several genetic DNA companies have taken divergent stances on collaborating with law enforcement agencies to solve criminal cases. Law enforcement, for instance, initially used GetMatch with few restrictions, which helped catch the Golden State Killer. However, now its privacy settings default to not allowing law enforcement searches without user permission. Both Ancestry and 23andMe have adopted a strict stance against allowing law enforcement access to their DNA databases without a legal mandate, such as a subpoena or a warrant. The harmony between digital code and human code has thus opened up a new realm of possibilities. In every strand of DNA, there lies a tale waiting to be told, a truth waiting to be discovered. And as AI continues to refine its ability to read and interpret the genetic manuscripts, the horizon of what can be uncovered expands, offering hope and answers to those yearning for a resolution to the mysteries that time once shrouded in silence. If you found this riveting, make sure to like and share it around. Don't forget to subscribe for more mind-bending content like this. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, it's goodbye.